Welcome to Bookshelf Bunny. I'm Kim, and today we're going to be talking about 2023 goals and choosing my TBR for January. My goals this year are pretty short and sweet, so I'll run through those quickly first. In my fabulous planner, my Erin Condren planner. Isn't that pretty? It's pretty. So I put my goals for the year in the flap just before the month of January here. And I'm just going to run through my reading goals and my writing goals. So for reading, I want to read 50 books this year. That's my goal. I don't want to overburden myself with a very lofty reading goal because one of my writing goals is going to take up some time. I also want to focus more on reading what I own. I have a lot of books, both ebooks and physical books, and I haven't even read half of them. It's a problem. I was kind of inspired by Criminali, his channel, and many others doing his challenge, which is the Read What You Own challenge. Now, in that challenge, the idea is to refrain from buying new books and reading what you own. I don't think I have the self-control to refrain from buying, so I won't be doing his challenge exactly, but I like the goal of reading more of what I already have and putting my focus there. I have a lot of backlist books. I have books from previous years, like the last few years, that were big titles that I got because I was excited at the time and I just never picked it up. So I want to jump on that. So I'm going to read more of what I own. And my last reading goal is to record the books that I read in my new fancy reading journal. This beauty right here, The Well-Read Woman. And this book has room for exactly 50 books. I went through and I counted. And so that's what I'm going to do. Each space has room for me to list my thoughts, my rating, etc. And my hope is that by recording it in here as I go, that I will be better able to give more in-depth reviews of the books that I read. I read a lot of indie books, and I read a lot of arcs, and I read a lot of just things that I feel like. But especially when I'm reading indie books and arcs, I want to be able to give a more thought out, more thoughtful review, more than just my usual off the cuff, this is how it struck me. So that's my reading goals. And as most of you who follow me on this channel know, I am a believer that a lot of readers are also writers, and writers are also readers, and along that, I write. So I have writing goals I would like to share. And again, I picked my top 3 goals, similar to my reading. And those are, I want to edit and revise my novel. So last year I wrote a novel and I wanted to have it ready to publish by this year. Now I didn't quite get there. I ended up in a little bit over my head in the revision and writing process. I actually had to go back and do a major overhaul and do a second draft that took a lot of bits and had to write them from scratch. So that slowed me down a lot. But this year we're back into the editing and revising process, so I want to have that done by the end of this year. Which brings me to the second goal. By the end of this year, I want to be ready to self-publish my debut novel and throw myself into that world. I also want to encourage myself to, I don't want to get stagnant. I don't want to get stuck on the one idea all year. So my next goal is to write something new every month, whether that's a poem. I dabble, I'm not very good, but I do like to write occasionally a poem or a short story. So by the end of this year, I hope to have 12 new pieces that I could just have in my portfolio of things, whether I submit them into contests or hang on to them for a future, compilation of short stories, who knows. But I want to have 12 new things by the end of this year. So that's my reading goals, and that's my writing goals. And that brings me to the January TBR. Yes, so I know a lot of my fellow booktubers do TBR games. I just watched one of my friends, Kate, over at Mini Book Chats. She developed a fun TBR game for this year. It's like a board game format, and I just love it. I'm not as creative as her. I'm really not. But I like the idea of doing something kind of fun and random to help choose those next books. And I have these fancy, like, squishy foam dice things, and I kind of wanted to put them to use. I also have this adorable jar that my mother-in-law, oh no, we're losing its ears, made for me a couple Christmases ago. And it's just, I love it so much, and I wanted to utilize it more. So I decided, combining jar and dice, I am going to do a TBR prompt game. So it's nothing major. Mostly I'm going to roll the die at the beginning of every month, and whatever it lands on, that's how many prompts I'm going to pull from said jar. And then I will choose books that I own, ebooks or physical books, and read them. And that's how I'm hoping to work on one of my reading goals, which is to read more of what I own. So that's my plan. Haha. The other thing I'm doing this year is I found a friend of mine and a fellow booktuber, Diamond, at Little Geek, Little Chic. She is doing the 12 by 12 by 12 challenge, which is to read 12 books recommended by 12 people in 12 months. So I took that, and again, I didn't do it exactly. I didn't want to wait for 12 people to make a recommendation, so I just kind of put it out there on Bookstagram, and I asked some friends and family, and I took the first several recommendations I got, kind of did a little draw to come up with 12 books from those recommendations, and I'm going to read those 12 books, one a month, for the rest of the year. What I'm going to do is, along the rows, reading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I am going to roll the die, and whatever number it lands on is the book that I'm going to read for this month, according to that challenge. So that's exciting. I'm looking forward to reading more of what I have, and I'm looking forward to reading some recommendations that are not necessarily books that I would gravitate to on my own. Let's start with the 12 for 12 for 12. We're going to roll my dice, and that will tell us which of the 12 recommendations I'm going to read. And then we are going to draw for our Read What You Own TBR prompts. Here we go. Don't mind my really messy floor. Rabbit hay tracks everywhere in my house. And now we are going to roll for our TBR prompt. 2. I will be drawing 2 books for the TBR prompt. Well, that was interesting. So, let us choose. We're going to take off your head here, bunny. So these are kind of a random assortment. Some of them are prompts that I pulled off the internet from various other people. And some of these are prompts that I just created and threw in, so they're quite random. Some of them repeat, some of them don't repeat. Let's grab 2. First one is a book inspired by the last song I heard. Well, the last song that I listened to was Lux Eterna by Metallica, their new song. So, random fact, I listen to a lot of metal and rock and alternative metal. So, that's fun. I don't know. We'll have to figure that one out. Next. A book with a rainbow on the cover. All right. Let's go see what I can find. I'll be back. Okay, book nerds, I have chosen. So for the 12 by 12 challenge, I used a D12 to roll, to choose, and I got the number 5. So the 5th one on the list was Finley Donovan is Killing It. This was a recommendation from Diamond over at A Little Geek, A Little Chic, so I am going to be reading this in January. And I'm also going to be reading, for the prompt of a book inspired by the last song you heard, which again was Lux Eterna by Metallica, I chose We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix, which has a main character in a heavy metal band. I feel like it fits. The other one, which was a book with a rainbow on the cover, I chose A Wrinkle in Time, this lovely rainbow right here. This will be a reread for me. This is a book I got as a kid and I hung on to because I love it. So that's fine by me. I love it. I'm excited. And I'm also reading a few other things this month. And these are books that I'm reading just because I want to. I'm currently reading Storm Silver by Raven McCoy, and I'm very excited about this one. I'm about 70 pages in, and so far I am totally here for it. I really enjoy this. I will also be reading an arc this month by a fellow writer that I know from Bookstagram. Her name is MTG, and her second novel is going to be coming out soon, and I'm reading an arc for that, for the Terra Nova series, so I'm very excited. And I have a few other indie books that I'm hoping to get to this month as well. We'll see. I don't know. I've got a couple on the go, but those are the ones that I'm focusing on immediately, and I hope to finish by the end of January. All right, book nerds, that's it for me. And as always, happy reading.